So hello, and welcome to Daily Space for today, July 17th, 2019. I am your host, Annie Wilson, and it's a Wednesday, so you all know what that means. It means we're going to talk about rockets. Wednesday, all rockets, all the time. So, let's get at it, shall we? So we're going to do things a little differently this week because it wasn't a good week for rockets. Now was it? It really wasn't. So, first up, because we're going to go in chronological order, is the Arianespace launch that happened on the 11th or 10th, July 10th or 11th, depending on where you are in the world. And it was originally scheduled for July 5th. And then it was pushed back to July 7th. And then finally it took off on July 10th or 11th, depending on where you are in the world. And the reason why it was pushed back twice was because of high altitude winds. So it finally went up on, let's just call it the 11th. It finally went up on the 11th, but it didn't go well at all. Approximately 2 minutes after launch, shortly after the second stage ignited, a launch anomaly occurred. That anomaly resulted in complete and total loss of the mission. And Arianespace was very quick to be like, something bad happened, and announced it. So, yeah, the rocket was lost. The payload was lost because it was carrying Falcon Eye 1, United Arab Emirates satellite, and it was supposed to be one of two, and 2 is still scheduled to launch later this year, but we don't know when, because I'm sure this will affect that mission. So this launch did set an unfortunate record. That unfortunate record is that it is now the largest ever space insurance loss. Yes. Did you know launches and payloads are insured? Because they sure are. The combined insurance policy for the rocket and the satellite totaled 369 million euros. For those in the US, that is $416 million. Yeah, you really don't want to hold that record. So the only graphic I really have for you is this kind of blurry. I know it's blurry. It was pulled from their their live stream. This is the altitude graph from the live stream. Tomp? Yeah, we'll just call it Tomp. Tomp, or time, is on the x-axis on the bottom. And it's blurry, and 120 seconds after launch is when the anomaly occurred, and at 120 seconds, everything looks normal. Everything looks fine. Let's see if I can pull out my pointer here and actually show you better than just... So here at 120, everything looks fine. Everything's right on track for, altitude. But here at 180, the green line, or the straight line with the circle, is where it should be. And the yellow line, or the line with the X, is where it was. So it dropped below the projected altitude. And after that, Arianespace pretty much cut the feed and was like, we lost the mission. We're going to set up an inquiry. So they did immediately set up an inquiry. And as of last night, I think I checked again this morning, there was nothing so far on what went wrong with the mission. We might not know for several weeks, if not months. So when they do update the rest of us, I'll let you know. So in less destructive news, India's Chandrayaan 2 did not launch. About an hour before launch, a technical snag was observed in the launch vehicle system. They have not announced a new launch date. The earliest launch window, I guess, is today. If it happens today, I'll stream it. If it doesn't happen today, it doesn't happen today. I've seen 0 things saying that it's going to happen today, so I would not count on it taking off today. So for those of you that didn't know, this would only be the 4th launch of the GSLV. That's Golf Sierra Lima Victor Mark III. Yeah, only the 4th launch. And they're kind of being cautious. They don't want a rapid unplanned disassembly. So this is a good thing that they postponed. We'll know about it, you know, soon, but the only reason why I'm giving you an update on, hey, this was postponed instead of, hey, this didn't take off, is because this is this is a really big mission for India. And the fact that it is only the 4th time this particular rocket has gone up, you know, I'm glad they waited. I'm glad they waited. I want this to be successful. So, yeah, SpaceX, because I know some of you are wondering about, hey, there was that thing that happened last night. Hey, you gonna talk about that thing that happened? Ha. Yes, we're going to talk about that thing that happened last night. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, this is what happened last night. This is what happened. I don't know how to frame my hands around the picture. There, this is what happened. Anyways, so last night, there was supposed to be, or actually there was, a Starhopper test fire. And the static fire occurred, and several minutes later, a large fuel flare under and around the Starhopper was seen. Water fire suppression system was turned on and put the fire out. So here's a good summary from Thomas Berghardt. Good static fire, 5 seconds. Methane discharge initiated. Hopper detanked and powered down fine. Looks totally okay this morning. Hop schedule to be determined. And for those of you that don't believe me that Starhopper is fine, here's a picture taken by Boca Chica Gal this morning of the Starhopper. It is okay. It is fine. It was just a really big fireball that went. Rumor on the SpaceX subreddit is that something about the ground support connections to the Starhopper were wonky, and that's where the leak was from. But we won't know. There's been no official word. We're gonna have to wait for the reason. And, you know, they'll give us a reason eventually. And speaking of things that SpaceX will give us a reason for eventually, before I flip to this next slide, I want to remind you that it is not related, and in fact is in a totally different geographical location than the Starhopper. Alright, you got that in your mind? The next picture is not of the Starhopper and is not even in Texas. This picture was taken in Cocoa Beach, Florida. And this is way more than a week ago, but still worth an update. So, on April 20th, SpaceX performed a ground test of the Crew Dragon launch abort system. Tinker has opinions on this. There was an anomaly and the entire vehicle, yes, the entire vehicle was destroyed. Smoke could be seen from Cocoa Beach, which is 22 kilometers or 14... I told you Tinker had opinions on this. So 22 kilometers or 14 miles away from Cape Canaveral. You could see smoke. So the photographer wasn't planning on taking pictures of the explosion. The photographer just happened to be there at Cocoa Beach for a surf expedition or competition or something. They just happened to catch this picture. So that's pretty cool that we actually do have a picture. And I see a correction in the thing. All right. Good for the correction in the chat. Michael T. Meyer says, not quite all destroyed. The Super Dracos survived, and the Super Dracos are kind of the important part here. So the Super Dracos are on the Dragon crew capsule, but they're not on the cargo capsule. So that's these two vehicles. I know they share a name, but they're actually, instead of siblings, they're more like cousins. So what went wrong? Our instro helped me out with this, so shout out to Dave. Basically, they think that the valve that separates the high pressure helium from the N2O4 oxidizer chamber may have failed, allowing some of it to push back into the helium chamber. This would have caused the type of boom they witnessed during the test. They are now in the process of replacing the check valves on all the high pressure connections for the Super Dracos with burnt discs. These are one-time use pieces, but they don't have the tendency to lose good seal in low-pressure environments as check valves sometimes can. They basically separate whatever is on either side of the disc until one side or the other reaches the disc's failure rating, at which point it bursts, allowing the needed flow. There are no moving parts, and if not activated, can generally be used repeatedly. They are also generally easier to replace and maintain than a valve. Yeah, so that's what Dave had to add about this. So shout out to Dave for really digging into that, because a lot of that is kind of above my level. So yeah, they have a reason now. They're looking into it more, and in the meantime, we still have these amazing photos that were captured by chance. Okay, so we've covered the things that didn't go well. Now let's cover the things that did go well. So, things that did go well. Guess what launched successfully after a delay or two? The Spektr-RG from Roscosmos. This is an X-ray telescope? Actually, I think it's two instruments. I don't have a picture of the actual telescope today. My apologies, there's just already so much. But yes, the Spektr X-ray and gamma. Thank you, DPI. So Spektr-RG went up A-okay. Everything's fine. Reminder, this will be orbiting the Earth, Sun, Lagrange 2 point for about 7 years. It's actually the same Lagrange point which hosts the Gaia probe. It's a huge space. Nothing will run into each other, but that's where it's going to be. And it has a expected lifetime about 7 years. Guess what I have? The launch video. So, warning, launches are loud. His part of the video is surprisingly quiet. It is very quiet, Larry. Or Michael, I'm sorry. I think this was the part that they pulled from the live stream. And apparently this can go on for another 2 minutes. So we'll just, you know, watch it disappear into the sky, and then we'll pause the video. Oh, there's the roar. So yeah, it took off successfully. As far as I can tell, all the payloads, well, all the payloads, what am I talking about? The payload deployed successfully. Everything's kosher. So that's a good way to round out a week of bad rocket stuff. Because no one likes bad rocket stuff. Really, really. I'm gonna stop it here, even though it's so pretty and you can still see it. So this video goes on for a whole other minute, and that's just a lot. So let's go on. That was all the stuff that launched and went wrong. Let's go on. Come on. Get your stuff together, Firefox. Let's go on to the things that are going to launch. So, more humans and another toilet are going to space. So Expedition 60, which for whatever reason is labeled differently, more on that in a second, is going to the ISS on July 20th at 1600 hours, 28 minutes UTC. So that's 12:28 p.m. Eastern, so a little afternoon, and 9:28 a.m. West Coast. So fun fact, Russia numbers their missions differently than NASA does. So what we count as Expedition 60, Russia is all, no, it's ISS 59 Sierra. Same flight, same people, and different numbers. It is very confusing. And it was Expedition 59 that just came down. This whole expedition numbering thing and the fact that humans get transferred from one expedition to another before they come down can be very, very, very confusing. So, yeah, JSC notation. I don't know what JSC means. But yeah, there's a couple different notations, but this is going to be the 60th expedition, and it's, oh, JSC is Johnson Space Center. Okay, so yeah, a little confusing, different numbers, same people. I swear, it's the same people. The US and Russia do not number space things the same way. That's just all you need to know. So, who are the humans going up on this? We have, not in the correct order. Let me see if I can get them in the correct order. From left to right, we have Andrew Morgan from USA and NASA. We have, in the center is Alexander, oh, I am going to slaughter this, Skvortskov from Russia, Roscosmos. And on the right, we have Luca Parmitano from Italy, or ESA. So these are the humans going up. Fun fact, the backup crew for this flight includes a Japanese astronaut that has gone up into space 3 or 4 times. I didn't write down his name. I apologize, but I thought that was a fun fact to enter in. So here is the so here's the flight patch. The flight. I feel like we need bingo for the days that I do, daily space. Kerbal says graphic design is my passion level patch. So this is the flight patch. And there's not a whole lot of symbolism here. Most of the symbols look like they're related to the launch itself. The Soyuz craft launched on the Soyuz rocket. Yeah, Soyuz on Soyuz. The Soyuz in flight on the left in yellow. The ISS, as it looks, you know, from outside the ISS, in yellow on the top. And my dogs have... And the, I'm sorry, there's a truck outside, and my dogs do not like the fact that there's a truck outside. And the, Soyuz command capsule coming back down to Earth with the parachute on the right. And there's 3 stars, and, I don't know what the 3 stars mean. I'm going to, you know, speculate that 1 star for each human on the flight, or 1 star for 1 star for each nation that's going up on this flight. I don't know. I don't know. But that's all this flight patch is. The mission patch is a little interesting. It is in the shape of a hexagon. And they have an eagle, and the 60, and the world, and a thing, and the ISS, and a constellation, and the moon. There's a lot of stuff going on with this patch. And I'm not even going to try to decode all the symbolism with it, because I don't know what all of it means. I'm sure there's a very specific number of stars. I did not count them. I'm sure there's a reason for everything on this, everything on this patch, but I'm not going to try to decode it. I just want to appreciate how pretty it is. So, this is the expedition patch. Alright, so, other things that are going up into space this week. On the 21st, SpaceX, so the day after the humans go, SpaceX is sending more cargo to the ISS. And bad news, I'm not going to be streaming this one either. It will be the 20th launch of the Dragon space capsule and the 18th under the commercial resupply services contract with NASA. There were 2 test missions prior to the commercial resupply contract that SpaceX now has with NASA. So this takes off at July 21st, 2300 hours, 35 minutes UTC. For those on the East Coast, that's 7:35 p.m. and those on the West Coast, it's 4:35 p.m. So, yeah. There's supplies, experiments, hardware being delivered, as well as a 3rd Docker adapter ring to be mounted on the ISS to accommodate future commercial crew vehicles, like, you know, the SpaceX Dragon crew capsule and things of that nature. As the numerical, and RNStro adds, as the numerical designation suggests, IDA is the 3rd of the international docking adapters. IDAs are built in order to convert the older shuttle-era docking style systems on the ISS's pressurized mating adapter 2 and 3 docking ports into the newer international docking system standard style. Oof, that's a mouthful. So the new adapter is going to be installed via the Canadarm. So yeah, Canadarm, doing things and stuff. So, the booster, another fun fact, this booster is the same that launched the previous CS-17 mission to the ISS, landing out on the Atlantic on, of course, I Still Love You. And for this mission, it is slated to land back at Landing Zone 1, back at the Cape. So yeah, they are reusing a they're reusing a booster, and they're going to reuse it again. So yeah, thanks RNStro for filling that in, because you are amazing. You are freaking amazing. So, Journey Started asked, did you imply it was going to deliver a toilet? No. SpaceX is not delivering the toilet. The next toilet's going to be going up on the Soyuz because there are toilets on the Soyuz. All right. So the next thing that's going up into space is something from iSpace, and you might wonder what this is, and you'd be correct because it's an early stage venture from China, whose Chinese name I am going to copy paste into chat because I don't know how to pronounce that. So that whole string of characters translates to, and I'm not joking, StarCraft Glory Space Technology. Not joking. They use iSpace for all of their logos and everything, but for whatever reason, the company name is StarCraft Glory Space Technology. I don't understand. I don't understand. So, this is not a photograph. This is a 3D rendition of the rocket that they are going to put up into space later this week. I didn't even mark date or time, but it is going up later this week. So this is a 3D rendition of the rocket that they're going to put up on a, semi-truck, 18-wheeler, whatever you want to call it. It's essentially going up for its maiden flight. So this is a 3D image. It gives you, or 3D render, it gives you an idea of how large this rocket is. And the next one is also not a photograph. This is, again, a 3D rendering of it going vertical on the launch pad. So, yeah, as Squish Chin and DPI pointed out, there are grid fins. And I think aside from SpaceX, this is the only company I've ever seen with grid fins, so that's interesting. The next photo is of their last suborbital test, and that was all the way back last year, and the grid fins are just straight out. Oh, Origin uses them too. Okay. So they're just kind of stuck straight out. There's not going to be live video on this, which is also why I'm didn't bother to write down when exactly it would launch, because it's China. There's not going to be live video. There may or may not be video of, after the fact of it launching. If there is, I'm going to find it for you. But this isn't going to have live video. China doesn't do live video of rockets launching. But yeah, this is of their last suborbital test. They've done 2 suborbital tests, Hyperbola 1 Sierra and Hyperbola 1 Zulu. And I think the one that they're sending up is Hyperbola 1 or 2. And I don't think it's supposed to go very far. It's really difficult to find a whole lot of information about Chinese launches, especially when they're, venture style companies. So yeah, if I find extra stuff beforehand, I will let you know. Oh, there's an ICBM that uses grid fins. Look at me learning stuff. I don't know. I just know grid fins are highly unusual. So China is trying to have a whole bunch of startups going for space, and we see bits and pieces of them occasionally. I think the last, Chinese startup space company that launched something, the launch date got pushed back and the launch got scrubbed, and I've heard zero since then. So yeah. If this thing does take off, I'll let you know. But if you don't hear anything, let's just assume it didn't take off. All right. Yeah, so that's all of the space news I have for you today. Let me toss in Tinker's picture, or, because she has been staring at the camera this entire time I've done the news, literally. And I know people tossed, you know, bits in chat, so we're just gonna do all of that. I think I saw bits pop up twice, 2 or 3 times. Look, more bits! And make it rain. Okay. So now is a good time to ask me questions. I'm going to scroll up through chat. While I scroll, I am going to remind you that this is a production of PSI, that's Planetary Science Institute, working in collaboration with Youngstown State University. Here in Youngstown, OMG, it's hot outside, Ohio. So, TPI says, and if you're not interested in rockets, may we interest you in some rocks and boulders? Yeah. Journey Started says, hello, they do not have great photography of their launches. That must be talking about the screen grab from the thing. You know the thing. The SpaceX Starhopper, and the camera was like 1.5 miles away, and it was nighttime and things of that nature. So yeah, because chat doesn't go all the way up. Saw a SpaceX leaky valve caused the loss of the capsule under test. DPI has an update with the Chandrayaan launch, and that's no earlier than July 22nd, so I might be able to cover that one. And Starstrider adds, this will make them, being India, the 4th nation to soft land on the moon if they succeed, which is yet another reason to be pushing things back, because yeah. Michael T. Meyer says, I watched it live, talking about the Starhopper thing, and it was not a big boom, just a whoosh. Good for toasting marshmallows, vehicle's fine, Water to put off a fuel fire. Yeah, I that's not my, firefighting is not my strong suit, Ambius. I don't know. So 100 bits for the big body boom. Thank you, Keeper. And Puck's just off screen, so, and speak. Good boy. All right, we got 1 Bork. And Michael with the update of, no, the SpaceX crew capsule was not all destroyed. The Super Dracos survived, which is the part that they need to, like, poke at. Some titanium burned. I don't know. Oh, some titanium burned, which surprised everyone. Yeah, I bet it would surprise everyone. Nominal, says Question. Yes. SpaceX probably did not use the discs in the first place, was to do with the fact that SpaceX wanted multiple test fires on the emergency system. This is where testing added features can cause the fatal errors as Journey Started. Oh, wow. DPI adds, SpaceX prefers reusable things over one-time use, which is generally okay. Just this combination can fail, and here did fail, hence the swap. And as Susie Murph points out, this is one of those weeks when you realize rocket science is still hard. Yeah, all the, delays and failures and things of that nation. And Larry adds, there might be an untethered Starhopper test next week, which would be pretty cool, especially if they can turn around and reuse the vehicle that quickly for it. So, Michael T. Meyer adds, 2 Keeper maps, a comment from the Reddit SpaceX Lounge. Falling metals have been found to be incompatible with nitrogen tetraoxide and must not be used. Aluminum 2024, aluminum 7075, zinc, silver, K-mono, titanium. Titanium must be avoided because of the possibility of impact sensitivity in the presence of a strong oxidizing agent. It is not my day for things at my house. And I'm looking for my chemistry model. Come here, cat, and I'll give you your treat. He must have heard the dogs bark. So I'm looking for my chemistry modules. So tetraoxide. Come here, buddy. Tetraoxide is this stuff, and it's nasty. Or nitrogen tetraoxide. It's nasty. We got 2 oxygens, 4 oxygens, 2 nitrogens. They are not fully... Nitrogen likes 3 bonds, so they're not fully double bonded to both of the oxygens, so the extra bond slash, and I just lost half of an oxygen. The extra bond is kind of spread between the things in a word I can't remember right now because I am overwhelmed with questions and critters. Okay. All right. So, Mike Cassidy says, I will start a porta potty business for spacewalkers. Spacewalkers actually have stuff in their suits to help them with all of that. So, Keeper of Maps says 100 bits for trucks outside. And here's bits, and make it rain. I definitely have my hands full. Shh. I don't know exactly. Larry Weird and Proud asks, is there a 3rd docking bay on the ISS? The answer is I don't know, but there's going to be, it sounds like. Veronica asks, isn't there 4 US, Russia, Italy, and Japan? Oh, that's for the mission patch. No, the Japanese astronaut is on the backup mission. I forget with who else. So, oof. You just need to chill out. Just chill out for a second. Did I imply it was going to deliver a toilet? No. There are toilets on Soyuz rockets in the... like living space, because the Soyuz, not on the rockets, on the orbiters or modules, or because the Soyuz orbiter or spacecraft, I guess is a better word for it, has 3 components, right? And one component is the command module. One component is called the orbital module, which is really the living space. And the 3rd component, I think, is exterior and they don't have access to, and that's like all the propulsion and instruments and things like that nature. So the toilet is in the orbital module, and it is not a toilet you sit on. It totally gets burned up in the atmosphere once the orbital module is released from the command module, because the orbital module gets burned up in the atmosphere. Okay. And now, you can't see it because he's just off camera, but I'm trying to feed the cat and deal with chat. So yeah, the iSpace rocket has grid fins, which I thought was just a SpaceX thing, and I am being told that no, it's Origin possibly uses them. We know SpaceX uses them, and I guess mid-range ICBMs use them. Soyuz has grid fins as part of their abort system. So yeah. So, there were bits from Wayne. And make it rain. Okay, so I'm starting to catch up. Okay, so Mike is asking about the Chinese. Are they real civil companies or government companies? I think iSpace is a real civil company, but China doesn't have the kind of divide that we're used to in the US between civil and government. I don't think iSpace is a derivative off of a governmental agency. I really think it is civil and independent from that, because another Chinese space company that we talked about recently was indeed a spin-off from a governmental agency. So yeah, I don't know enough about Chinese Chinese society and things of that nature in general to speak intelligently about this, and I don't read Chinese, which makes it even more difficult when I do go and find info, because I have to translate it, and things can be translated in many different ways. So it's a challenge. So remember, if you are dropped in the middle of China and you can read English, you are functionally illiterate in China. So that's how I feel a lot of the times going and trying to do, trying to get information about these different launches and missions. Okay. Oof, 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 oof. Okay, so I'm scrolling down. Hot here in Wisconsin too. Oh, Wicked Wonder, I bet. Can it be fall already? No. Oof. Michael says, I think it was actually Arian. Arian what? It's getting cold. Rose says, it's getting cold here and the dog is hiding under the blankets. Yeah. Yeah. Fuel needs foam. Depends on fuel in the thing. Oof. My cat. My cat is... my cat. Okay. The site... oh, thank you, Journey Started, for sharing that site. Has, has a picture of this iSpace rocket in more detail. Thank you. Kitty is singing. It's a cat that's hungry. The cat is... he's been fed. I just fed him a treat. You all watched me feed him a treat. And Eddie is very confused. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Grid fins. Journey started. The grid fins look to just recover a shroud covering the main engine. That might be correct. Okay. Oof, oof, oof. There's so many things happening. Okay, so Blue Origin uses ring fins, not grid fins. Is it, Michael asks, is it a case of pass the toilet please in the Soyuz? Because the space is so small, what happens when you use the toilet is your comrades turn around and face different directions while you use the Soyuz. I've read stories of astronauts and cosmonauts stripping from the waist down to use it because they don't want to make a mess. Because it's like riding a horse or a motorcycle or a bike or a witch on a broom. You straddle that thing. You don't sit on it. It's a contraption connected to a hose. You pick the plumbing bits that match your plumbing, and the whole thing's stowed in a cabinet. They really don't like it. They really don't like using it. Arian doesn't have good launch photography. No, not really. It will solve all of my... duct tape will solve all of my pet and children issues. No, no, no. Oof. I didn't... Keeper Map says, I didn't see it being fed a treat. He was in my lap. And yes, the cat sounds like a... the cat sounds like a baby. I know it sounds like a baby. People have been very confused. The last Arian 5 had amazing camera views, yeah. Getting a water closet to work in low gravity would be a wasted effort. You don't have gravity, so you have to use other means to get, you know, toilets to work properly. Like suction and fans. Suction and fans. There's a Lego space exhibit opening next week in Israel, and I don't have a passport. And there's going to be a 1/1 Lego model of Berry Sheet. Ambius, if you go to this thing, can you please take pictures of the Lego model? And if they have like any build instructions for the Berry Sheet anywhere, I will happily pay you for them. So, oh, you will take all the photos. Thank you. I am so excited about that. But yeah, if you find build instructions, I will happily pay you for them. I don't know how, but we'll make it work. French Kourou, which is located in the tropics, often has to contend with numerous cumulus clouds. Yes. Yes, they do. I think that's why a lot of people are like, no, we should put clouds in the launch bingo. So, can we just say fancy shot vac? Actually, yes, Veronica, that's a really good way of putting it, that it is indeed just a fancy shot vac. Kat, do you want another treat? I might have another treat handy for you. So my cat has no teeth and has to have liquid treats. Come here, kitty. Because now I have to prove that I fed you to the world. The dog ran over the cat. Come here. Now I have to prove that I fed you. So yeah, we can just say fancy shot vac. So, did I catch everything? Did I answer all the questions? Now is a good time while, I feed the cat a treat and try to do it on camera. Now's a good time to, ask more questions. Because I'm kind of, held captive by the cat for a second or three. The lazy white dog trips over the toothless cat. It's more like the white dog is going blind. And the cat can see and hear. So, this is essentially a public service announcement. The cat has a snout. He does. I will be traveling Thursday through Sunday, which is why, there are launches and, all sorts of Apollo 50th anniversary stuff that's happening this weekend. That's why I'm not going to be, streaming them. I don't own a laptop. And the place where I'm going to be has zero internet and spotty cell service, so I can't even try to do it from my phone. So, yeah, that's why I won't be streaming. I don't know. Pamela, are you still in chat? Because I'm fairly certain. Yeah, Susie's going to be in the same place. I hesitate. Okay. So it's unclear of what Dr. Pamela's doing this weekend, so I'm going to say there may or may not be Daily Space tomorrow or Friday. If there is, that means all three of us are traveling. Or if there isn't, that means all three of us are traveling. If there isn't, it means that two of us are traveling. So there will be a group photo and I guess a video. Oof, you're dropping cat treat all over me. Are you done? He's like, no, I'm not done. So the best way is to, best way to find out whether or not there's a stream tomorrow is to follow us if you haven't already, and or get on Discord. So, are you almost done? He's almost done. And I guess do you feel better now? Okay. And Arnstro says, looks like the Chinese space station will be deorbited by China on Friday. Does that mean it's going to re-enter the atmosphere, or is that just they're going to make sure it's, on the ground? Or make, essentially lower its orbit and make it go down? They have used it in this town. They've gone and visited at least once. They've gone and visited at least once. They're making sure it will re-enter the atmosphere on Friday. Oh, wow. So yeah. I'm going to have to update my space toilet count. Because if that's the case, we're going to be down one space toilet. Has been coming up on the ISS detector app. That's actually pretty cool that it's been showing up on the detector app. There's a cat on dog cam. I don't want to alarm anyone, but there's a cat on dog cam. Welcome to my life. Yes, Tinker enjoys licking the cat, and the cat enjoys being licked. So, yeah, okay, cool. So, Chinese space station's coming down. on Friday. There's a whole bunch of stuff this weekend for the 50th anniversary of Apollo. The cat still has opinions on this. You watched him eat, you know he's been fed. Yes, Tinker can sometimes be a cat secretly in disguise. So I think that's everything I really have for you all. I know that was a lot. I know my animals interrupted, and I don't know what to even say to that. I apologize, but I know many of you are often amused by my animals interrupting me. So we'll just throw Cheerios at the dogs and, you know, think happy thoughts. So I'm gonna close all my slides up. I'm amused that you guys are like, look at the puppies. Puck is a string theorist. Okay. Puck, did you know you were a string theorist? He's like, no, I did not know I was a string theorist. All right, so yeah, I am going to wrap things up. I encourage you to mark Bennu. Actually, before we go, let me check to see how we are. The deadline is the 22nd. That is not what I wanted, Firefox. The deadline is the 22nd. We are down to 1,756 images remaining. The deadline's Monday. I'm assuming that's like midnight of Monday, so let's say 11:59, whatever, on the 22nd. We're doing pretty good. I feel like we can get below. I'd really like to see for us to get below 1,000 images, you know, remaining. At this point, any little bit that you can do is amazing. I will be hanging around in Discord and will give you updates to your counts if you asked. If you don't ask and I recognize your username, I will just... I pinged a bunch of people last night and was essentially like, these are how many you've marked. If you'd like more updates, just ping me and I will go digging through the database to find it. I've been trying to pull numbers and different things, and I've been experimenting in the database. I'm not editing anything, so... Oh, you had a Bennu image halfway done when the boulders tripped the power, or when the builders tripped the power and you lost it. That's okay, because it probably wasn't saved, so other people will mark it. And yeah. No, the horn was here. The horn was here. For those that don't know, that is my pet peeve. Anyways, so yeah, I'll be around in Discord. Ping me if you want to know an update. It sounds like Favorite Human and I are going to hit the road very, very early in the morning. So I may or may not stream tonight. We'll see. If I stream, we're going to be marking rocks because I am 1 or 2 images away from 50, and I'd like to hit 50 at least. Because that's amazing. That would be an amazing achievement. And I hit 50 without really trying, which is also kind of awesome. So, yeah. That's literally all the things I have for you, so I'm going to do the very quick wall of text. So, again, this has been a production of PSI, it's Planetary Science Institute, working in collaboration with Youngstown State University, who hasn't seen me in months and reminds me about it often. Here in Youngstown, why is it so hot outside Ohio? PSI is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation, which is fancy talk for your donations are tax deductible where laws allow. Speaking of donations, we are brought to you by you. So thank you for all of your financial contributions that, you know, pay for Susie and I to keep doing stuff, to keep this going. Thank you for, you know, inflicting us upon your friends and families and colleagues. Thanks for, you know, hanging out and chatting with us. Thanks for the follows. If you can't do anything else, hey, sitting with us, chatting with us is free. Follows are free. Come hang with us. We're fun. I promise. We archive everything on YouTube. So if you missed the video on demand, it's on YouTube. And C-Not Bush is streaming. Okay, I guess that's who we're gonna raid, is C-Not Bush. And I think that's like the bare minimum. Oh yeah, in case you just tuned in and didn't know, we stream most Sundays through Fridays at 1700 hours UTC, 1 p.m. Eastern, when the time inevitably does change again, because it will change. Just remember 1 p.m. Eastern. And yeah. So I think that's literally all the things. I'm never too sure about this. And so yeah, have a wonderful insert time of day here. I will see you all not on Sunday. I will see you probably Wednesday, if not tonight. We'll see. I don't know. Random streams. This is why you follow, is to get notified about random unscheduled streams. And with that, I'm going to roll the credits, and we're going to raid C-Not Bush and things of that nature. So yeah, having a wonderful insert time of day here, and keep being awesome. And yeah, I will see you eventually. Bye. And transition.